fucking idiot, dude.
Fuck,
You may
what
have
happened?
noticed the original fucking Hellraiser episode got privated and then re-uploaded.
Oof. Who privated it?
And
Oh, you
the reason
privated it?
for that, I privated it. So the reason for that, on Friday, I was fucking rushing to get this uploaded because I did not have any extra time on the weekend.
Right.
I had a busy weekend. So I had to rush to get this edited. And when it was exporting to YouTube on Friday, I didn't really take any chance to like second chance it. So it was uploaded. It got uploaded Friday or Saturday at 12 like usual.
You
And
uploaded like some gay porn or something by accident?
no, well then
Oh.
Bryce is in the chat and he's like, "Man, I love like the joke you guys made in the episode." And I was like, "I don't think I made that joke in the Hellraiser episode." And I was like, "Is he not like maybe he didn't watch the Threads episode and he's watching it now to catch up?" But then I was like, "Okay, I'm going to just hear if I made that joke in Hellraiser." So I listened to the Hellraiser episode and it was just the Threads audio. So I fucking uploaded the fucking Threads episode
Oh.
fully unaware. So I put it into the editing bay, edited the fucking final cut, fully exported it, and
And then
uploaded it
uploaded
to
Threads.
YouTube without fucking noticing that it was the wrong audio. So
Oof.
then Monday, I was like, well, Monday I caught it. Tuesday I was in fucking mad dash to get it fucking uploaded, like to get the Hellraiser episode uploaded. My computer's a fucking piece of shit, so it's super slow to export stuff. But I did eventually get it up to YouTube, so that's kind of why there was a. I just thought I'd be honest with the viewer
With our
of why
fans.
that
With our fans.
of why that fucking happened, because I was like having a fucking panic attack. I was like, oh well, the few viewers we have are fucking gone because of my fucking idiocracy. So that's why that was such a weird fucking upload, and I do apologize for that.
Incredible. Well, hey, thanks, Bryce, for catching that.
Yeah, true. Well, I only
Did you
would have
still have
caught it
did
was
you still have the Hellraiser title card, like all the flashy animations, and then we just started with Threads?
yeah, no, everything was Hellraiser except for the audio. It was Threads. I was like, fucking moron. So I was very upset about that.
Hey, at least we recorded the audio. It wasn't like the last 3 times when we just
That's true. We didn't lose it. So
didn't
it
lose
wasn't
it.
a big wasn't a big problem to fix, but it was just a fucking moment of panic because I wasn't sure if I'd finished the editing for the Beyond.
Betrayed or wonder. Bryce is probably sitting down. He's got the popcorn. It's a Friday night. He's excited, and it's just fucking Threads again. It's like, son of a
The
bitch.
exact same episode. Maybe he didn't even listen to the Threads episode because like I feel like he would have caught on, or maybe he was sarcastically like pointing it out
Oh yeah.
as he does. So he could have been like, "Oh, I love this joke, guys. Like, I'm glad you made it again." Like, I thought maybe it could be like a sarcastic way, but maybe he didn't listen to it, so I don't know.
Incredible. I guess we'll hear about it tonight. He is a good
Yeah,
lad.
we'll have to figure it out when he listens to this one.
Before we
So,
get
anyways, what did you? Oh,
oh
sorry. Go
I
ahead. Go
I just
ahead.
wanted to say a quick word. Coolio has passed away at the age of 59. He's resting in gangster paradise. Hey, at least he
What
made
did
it past 23, but that's really sad.
fucking Coolio? Who the fuck is
Coolio.
Coolio?
He sang Gangster's Paradise. That's the only song I know about him.
Okay. Well, that's a shame.
I just saw it come back. It's like, oh,
I thought
Coolio and the
I thought you were
gang.
talking about Cool and the Gang.
Cool and the gang.
I was like, I
He
don't
died
think
at
that's-
59. Oh,
I was like, man, 59. Isn't that from like? Aren't they from the 70s or something? But I thought he
fucking
sang
Cairo State.
Celebration. But no, dude. So, anyways, what did you get up to this weekend? That was kind of well, I got up to some stuff, but I'll ask you first. What did you get up to this weekend?
Sure. It was a busy weekend. I was running between all the different places I used to live and the kind of the friends I collected. Um, but I left one of the toasters behind because I was kind of like a ring dingy ass toaster. Like I got it secondhand when I just started like moving in there, and like the week before I moved out, this is 4 years later, this thing has been abused. If you wanted toast, you had to hold it down for 10 whole seconds because the string where the spring was so fucking busted that you had to like push it and wedge it in underneath a bit of like a metal
Oh fuck.
or
You
metal
had
like
to,
ledge
you
or
had to stick
whatnot.
a knife in it. You had to
Yeah,
stick
just
a
to keep it
knife
in
in it.
fucking place.
Right.
It was a whole shebang, and it wouldn't go up again, right? So it wouldn't ding. So you just have to like start a fucking timer, like okay, minute and a half. But then when I moved out, I guess the new guy, they didn't tell him, so he got it down, but he didn't know he had to like lift it back up again, like manually, basically. Ben was telling me, an old roommate, it sat there for like 5 minutes, began to like smolder and like burn a little bit. Smoke was
Oh
coming up from
fuck.
it, and then a fucking toaster exploded. It was like this electric surge that went through it. The side metal plate flew out, and it fucking destroyed 5 more fucking breakers. Every outlet in the house was gone.
That's
Yes,
awesome. And you just moved out, or is that your new place?
that's the place I just moved out of like a few weeks back.
So
The fucking
fucking
the
buddy,
toaster of doom.
buddy, you set a fuck. That's an act of terrorism. You've committed an act of terrorism against those new tenants, dude.
That was a fucking Home
That's
Alone
fucking
trap.
funny. That's fucking awesome.
Jesus Christ. So yeah,
That's a.
hopefully he doesn't that it was me.
Hopefully it doesn't come back to you. I mean, they can't really scan it for fingerprints. Hopefully, so just
That's
say that
when
like, oh, if they ask, say it was a perfectly fine toaster. What did you do to it?
yeah, what the fuck did you do? Can you buy me a new toaster? Why'd you break my toaster?
Yeah,
That's when I get
that
like a
was blame
suspicious
them.
fucking box in like the pack
Oh
delivery or
man.
something. It's just a brand new toaster and I use it for 3 years and it ends up being like a fucking bomb or something. It's just been
They just
timing
send
so
you a
off.
fucking pipe. They send you a pipe bomb in
An
the
actual
mail.
pipe bomb. It's a fucking
You're
Amazon
not
package,
even-
zero padding or anything, and then just a pipe bomb. Can you fucking imagine? The whole front of the
That'd be
house
fucking.
gone.
That'd be fucking scary.
Absolutely
Oh,
terrifying.
dude. So
But yeah, so that was fucking funny. What about you, man?
I didn't get up to too much. Well, that's a lie. I did get up to a lot. I had to fucking stupid audio here. So I had to go to fucking. I was hanging out. I had to help my girlfriend dog sit again at her house, which is fine. But we wanted to go. The fall fair was in
Uh,
town, so we wanted to go check that out and
this
where
was
I
in
live.
Bracebridge
And
or North Bay?
no, this is in Huntsville.
Oh, she came up. Okay, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, she came up. So then we went to the fall fair, and it was really really tiny. Like they had like 5 flat rides, and usually they have like 10 or 12.
Hmm.
So, and a lot of people were really upset. Like we went in and we walked around. Like there's some other stuff to do and stuff. I really just went just kind of for the novelty of it.
Mm.
And people were like, I can't believe there's no fucking tilt-a-whirl. Like there were fucking people upset about it. And I was like, I feel like a lot of these rides that they move were probably left to rot over COVID, like during the
Yeah, just nobody
COVID-19.
bothered to get them.
So I bet you like a good portion of these rides were probably fucking unrepairable, or not, like at least no one knew about it until fucking they went to move it out, right? So
Mm.
I don't know, it was okay, but we rode 3 rides, and I rode the swing ride, you know, the one that spins you around in the swing set.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And about halfway through that ride, dude, I got so fucking sick. I was like, oh, and I've never been sick on rides before, so I was like, it's happening. I thought I was gonna fucking
I
puke.
died.
Like, dude, I was so fucking. I felt so ill, and I was like almost. I was almost about to say, "You gotta stop the fucking ride, man. I'm gonna
Stop.
fucking puke." But
My back is bleeding.
luckily, it
Thanks,
stopped.
man. Yeah.
Dude, I had to lay down on a fucking picnic table for like 15 minutes. I was
Oh
so
my
fucking
goodness.
like, oh, I was out of it, dude. I was drained.
Man, it happened to me once when I went to Canada's Wonderland. I went on a few of those rides, and I fucking suck with any sort of like turbulence or whatnot. I was fucking. I felt hungover for the next 3 days. Like I was completely
Oh,
diseased. It absolutely
dude.
shreks me.
I went I went to fuck Canada's Wonderland over the summer, and I remember the first. I haven't been on a ride in like, I think the last time I went on a ride was in high school, and that was Halloween Haunt.
Mm.
So like 2014 was the last time I went on a fucking
Oh
roller
God, man,
coaster.
that's almost a decade ago.
And the first thing we did, we went on the fucking Leviathan, which is like the biggest roller coaster in Canada, like the steepest.
Hmm.
And that was the first ride we did, dude. Oh, I fucking like, I had the worst headache after that. I was like, all the G force hitting your fucking head. I was like, oh, and then We rode the backlot stunt coaster, which I think is like one of the fastest ones other than the Leviathan. Like
Is
it's
that like
like I
that
don't know what.
rickety ass wooden one?
No, it's the
Oh.
one that's like the Mini Coopers. Like it's like the little cars.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
it used to be called the Italian Job, but then they changed owners and now it's called the Backlot Stunt Coaster.
Mm.
That one like shoots off super super fast and then it goes immediately uphill. We went uphill and I swear to God, I fucking blacked out. Like all the vision was gone from my eyeballs. Like all
Holy
the blood just
fuck.
evacuated from my head. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing too good.
It's the
So,
Top Gun fucking sequel. Damn.
oh man, I was like melting probably. I probably looked so fucking distraught after that ride, but I'm getting too old for roller coasters, which
Getting
is a
too
sad
old for
day.
this shit. Yeah, man. The fact that the fall fair was almost a decade ago makes me quite upset.
Yeah.
But,
All right. What did you do? Anything you did that you'd recommend to the anything you did that you'd recommend play, watch, or do?
few things, little things. I started watching the 2022, well, obviously 2022, like the Dahmer show that came out like a few weeks ago on Netflix. Watched literally a half hour of it. And it's really good.
Oh, you didn't like it?
No, I liked it a lot, but it's really, really stressful. Like just the.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen it?
Dude, I was gonna watch it. I came to the decision because Grounded, full release of Grounded
I
came
saw
out,
that. Yeah,
and I watched about 10 minutes last night, and I was like, I honestly would rather be playing Grounded.
fair enough.
So I had to fuck it. I played Grounded instead, but I've heard good things. I
Yeah.
believe that we are owed some kind of because I think that our friend Dahmer episode influenced the
It
release of
kickstarted
that
the whole
show.
thing.
So
You gotta get some
Netflix,
royalties off of that.
yeah, we need some royalties or something. Netflix, but no, I'm just
Oh
fucking.
man, yeah.
But
But
I just know
uh,
the actor's really good, and he looks very much like Jeffrey Dahmer.
yeah, he's been in a whole bunch of things. I forgot what his name is, but he's like this notorious serial killer in like every single thing he does. Kind of typecast a bit.
No, it's Quicksilver from
Oh,
the X
Quicksilver.
Men Days
Okay,
of
well
Future Past.
he's done a good amount of like freak shit.
Yeah, he's done American Horror
Um,
Story and stuff.
yeah, I recognize it somewhere.
What's his name?
Those little
Evan
beady
Roberts or
eyes.
something.
That little.
Yeah, is that
Uh,
all you'd recommend, or you
oh,
got
well
anything
then I got.
else?
This is just like a thing that's coming up that's really cool. So you remember Whiplash? Can't go wrong with
Yeah.
Whiplash. So in Kitchener, they're doing on November 1st a viewing of the film with a full jazz band being composed by what's his name, Justin Hurwitz, who did like the music for Whiplash and La La Land. So he's gonna be there composing the whole thing, and I'm gonna go. And it's fucking sick, and I'm really excited about it. That
Yeah,
should be
that'll
pretty
probably be
sweet.
fun.
And then this came out literally 50 minutes ago. There's a new Planet of the Apes movie. It's the fourth, technically, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. But this time it's not Matt Reeves. It's Wes Ball, who has only done really like the Blade Runner trilogy. So
Okay.
we'll see where that goes. But I do think
Yeah,
Andy
who
Serkis is
knows?
returning, which is exciting.
Well, that's good. Yeah, he was kind of what I think. I like those movies. They're pretty good.
Yeah, I had a good time
So
with them.
hopefully they're decent.
Mhm.
What was the what did I get up to? I didn't really get up to much. I did watch The Munsters, but we're gonna talk about that next week.
It's funny
And
that we
I
got an ad
watched
for the Munsters. Like on the Blu-ray of the Black Phone was in the little trailer for the Munsters. So love to see it.
I watched Are You Afraid of the Dark, the reboot season, the limited series, which was decent for what I expected. I thought it was pretty cool. The Nickelodeon, it was decent, worth a watch. I'd say it wasn't like anything too special, but for what I expected, I enjoyed it. And then the other thing, I've just been playing Grounded. They fully released it.
Has it been worth the
I
hype? Are you glad you
Oh yeah,
started it?
dude, I fucking love that. It's probably my favorite game of the year,
Oh
honestly.
wow.
Like I played it. I've been kind of playing it slowly throughout the release. Like I mean, we bought it on day 1. I got a thank you message when I started it. It said thank you for purchasing Grounded. I was really happy about that.
You got it day one.
And just yeah, I bought it
Oh
like
damn.
game preview day 1.
Damn.
And I remember thinking when I bought it, I was like, oh, I really hope they update this. And then the first update, I think, was the bird. I played at the
Oh yeah.
bird. I played a bit at the koi pond, and then I remember the hot and hazy update was like one of the big ones that added a ton of content, and that was like one of the most fun. And then they added like a wood pile and stuff. It's been pretty good. So now they've added like the rest of the game basically, and there's apparently a lot. Unfortunately, I've had the final boss spoiled for me,
Mm.
so I'm upset about that, but they've added a ton of stuff like cutscenes and everything. So I'm really happy with it. I
Oh,
am
right on.
enjoying it.
I'll have to jump back into it. Yeah, we played a bit together. Not a whole lot though. I think it was mainly the fucking connectivity issues that were pissing me off.
Yeah.
Always a few
Yeah, I
seconds
think so.
behind. But
Well,
anyways,
you
yeah,
only do the last update. I don't know if you played any more, but the last time we played was the Crow update, which was like the second update of the game,
yeah,
basically.
fair enough. I should probably give it a second
So it's like
chance.
it's like totally fucking different now.
Okay.
So you'll be fucking shocked at what they've added and stuff. Although I'm not starting another new game because I've done that like 7 times. I'm not
Fair
doing
enough.
it anymore.
Fair enough. I respect it.
But yeah, that's basically what I've been up to. I haven't been up to too much other
Yeah,
than that.
yeah.
But
I was
so I
just
guess
thinking
without
here.
further ado, sorry.
Oh no, I was just thinking like the reason I've been doing much is because like fucking money is tight. And then I was looking at this can of Arizona, like the iced tea. This little fucker is the only thing that hasn't been touched by inflation. Everything else, 300% the
Yeah.
price. This thing
Even
is
the fucking $5, even the hot and ready $5 hot and ready.
it's like $8 now.
It's crazy, dude. It upsets me.
Greatly.
Thank God for Arizona iced tea. And I think the
Yeah, we all
Costco
should.
hot dogs. I think the Costco hot dogs haven't been touched by
Yeah, yeah.
inflation either.
They're still at a crisp 150. I actually got one just the other day, just to test the theory.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Other than that, I think we can move right into the film discussion. I mean, I don't really have too much to say about it, but so as promised last week, we're talking about the 2022 film The Black Phone by Scott Derksen.
Mm-hmm.
Initial thoughts, Bart. What did you think about it?
All right, I'm gonna try not to be overly negative because it's not a bad film by any means, but it's a bit boring, bit generic, bit predictable. I thought Ethan Hawke as like the grabber was very underutilized. There are a lot of like missing plot points. There's some tension between whether it wants to be like a super grounded movie or like this another Stephen King clairvoyance kind of thing. So very much disappointed. I'm kind of unhappy that I spent $30 on it. But hey, can't win them all. But I'd still go see it. It's like a really good Steven Spielberg kind of movie. That's kind of the vibe I got. What about you, Hunter?
I thought it was okay. I wasn't overly impressed by it, same as you. Basically, my general thoughts was this is like baby's first horror movie. It wasn't like I think like it wasn't really scary. There was no kind of real moments where I was scared. There was like a couple of scenes where I was like, oh, it's a little creepy, but I was a bit disappointed. I thought Ethan Hawke was the best part of the movie. And like you said, he was not in it a ton as I thought he would be. I wish he was in it more, honestly. He was kind of the saving grace of the movie. And yeah, there was a couple of things. I wish the ending was kind of I didn't like the ending. I wish it was darker.
I didn't like
I
it
wish it
either.
was darker,
Yeah.
honestly. In all fairness, I thought
I actually have a note here. It's like, oh, I thought Prey had an unsatisfying ending.
I thought like dude, it wasn't like it was unsatisfying. It was just like it was just so like too happy. Like it was just like this is a horror movie. Come on, give people like end it on like a low note. Like you don't have I mean it wasn't like and my opinion would change if the character suffered through the whole movie, but the character didn't suffer at all. He got punched in the face once. He didn't get hit by the guy or anything. He got punched in the face, went downstairs, and then continued to fucking escape. And it's like, this guy's fucking awful.
Yeah, he's not very good at his job. But I guess so. Those are our initial thoughts. I guess we should kind of get into it, give everybody some context
Yeah, we'll break it
where
down
all
a
this is
bit.
coming from. Break it down a little bit.
If you
Yeah.
wanna start the breakdown.
Yeah, I can start by giving a quick little synopsis. So here, right from IMDb, Finney Shaw is a shy but clever 13-year-old boy who's being held in a soundproof basement by a sadistic mass killer. When a disconnected phone on the wall starts to ring, he soon discovers that he can hear the voices of the murderers murderer's previous victim. My goodness. And they are dead set on making sure that what happened to them doesn't happen to Finney. So right off the bat, I'm gonna say I like Finney and Gwen, the brother and sister. They have good chemistry. I like them together. So the movie opens on a baseball game, and we have Finney, who is our main character, as pitcher, and then we have the opposing team. The other notable character there is Bruce, who is batting. Finney gets 2 strikes on them, and then Bruce gets a home run, which makes him upset a bit, Finney. But then Bruce comes to him. He's like, "Hey, man, your arm is mint. Good
Dude,
arm."
for
And then
1978, I thought that line was. Did they say that back in 1978? That's so mint. Like I thought that was like a modern thing. I was like, what the fuck decade is this?
honestly, it very well could just be some slang. I have no
I
clue.
I was like so
Mint.
confused.
But yeah, Bruce fucking clutches the game, like a I don't know 5v1 in Rainbow Six. That was a deep cut joke. My goodness. Um, but then yeah, right out of that we see Bruce and Finney kind of passing by each other. Finney's like, "Oh yeah, hey, thanks, man." Gets on his bike, and then it kind of cuts to like the.
Like a
It feels a
montage.
little bit like a TV montage. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
just
cuts. It was actually shot on Super 8, which is pretty cool.
that was like, dude,
Um,
I wish the whole movie was shot in film. Like they cut to like Super
Me
8 in
too.
film. I wish they just shot the whole thing in that cuz like
Yeah,
I don't know,
it
it
looks too
just
clean
like
for what they're going for.
I feel like if this was shot in like the 70s or the 80s, I feel like that film look would add more of a realism to like what's happening. I don't know. That's just kind of a nitpick I have with most movies shot in like 4K ultra. Like I like when it's like shot on video or shot on film because it just looks so much more dirty with the film grain and like the flickers and the hairs on the lens and stuff, and I just feel like it looks so much more dirty and unclean, and like I just like it better in all fairness.
I can at least appreciate that they actually like shot it on film and then
Y-
didn't just do it in
yeah,
post
at
or
least they
something.
yeah, no, I definitely appreciate
Commendable.
that they had those scenes for sure.
hmm But yeah, then in that little title card intro, we have a bunch of like missing kids posters flashing up here and there, and then at the end of it, we see that Bruce has been kidnapped by the grabber, so they call him. And then I believe it just cuts right to Finney's very happy home life with his father. That was just an absolute treat to watch.
Yeah.
Hunter, what did you think?
Where he's fucking like spanking his daughter's ass and like beating her with a
Yeah,
belt.
he's got the belt out. You got the dad. He's just an absolute sucker.
I think they tried to like I think the producers tried to tell Scott Derkinson not to show this, but they didn't really fight him on it, so he just kept it in the movie anyways. It's kind of funny.
Mm. Do you know? Do you know that scene when she kind of runs away and the dad grabs her again and goes in for like a second, like a couple more licks? That was all improvised.
Oh,
It's just
really?
whack. So I guess that dad had some fucking.
He had some
I guess that kid was being a little dickwad on
he was
stage or
fucking
something.
angry on set, that guy.
He's like, you know what? I'll give him a fucking show.
Yeah, it was uncomfortable to say that. But you know what? It wasn't even like that whole plot line with the abusive dad. It just kind of comes and goes. Like it
Yeah, and I
wasn't
thought
even
they were gonna bring it back because later on, like one of the killer, the killer has this game. It's called Naughty Boy. That if you kind of break the rules, then he'll whip you. And I thought that was gonna be like a big confrontation. Like he's like kind of mirroring the dad,
yeah.
but that went literally nowhere. Like the setup was all there and
Yeah,
nowhere.
like the dad being abusive had literally no anything like you didn't need to have him in the story, honestly.
Yeah, and they did say that like it hardened Finney so he could take a punch and a beating, but he's literally like slapped
Yeah.
and tackled once in his entire kidnapping. So
Yeah,
it felt a bit. See, I really thought it was setting the tone really well with like it's gonna be dark and gritty, and I was like ready for some stuff, but then
yeah, dude.
it's all pretty like lighthearted and clean, and it's all right.
It was yeah. And then there's like this fight at the high school between I don't know, this one his
The
friend,
fucking Ralph Macchio.
and I have to say that this fight was like really really dramatized. Like it was like a Marvel fight. Like they're like dodging punches and like throwing kids to the like I remember fights in high school being like the most awkward thing. Like they'd get really close and they just grab onto each other, rip their shirts off, and so it was awful. Like it was the most
It's just like
uninteresting
yeah,
thing to
and then you
watch.
just fall to the ground and kind of just roll
And I
around.
mean, maybe it was
Have
like
you?
they didn't want to do that because it's an ugly thing to watch, but at the same time, I feel like this is an ugly movie. We shouldn't have these like crisp, choreographed fight scenes. Like it just is too clean of a movie.
That's what
Like
I thought.
it should be
That's why it was so out of place.
like this is
So sorry. Go in.
this is like a gross subject matter. A dude kidnaps children and murders them, and God knows what he does in between.
I think like especially if the preceding scene was literally like this 12-year-old girl getting beat by her alcoholic father because he's mad at her for using this clairvoyance, the Stephen King clairvoyance, where she dreams, and then we later find out that her mother also had the whole clairvoyance thing, but it took her down this path because he kept following these dreams, and then eventually took her own life. So I guess the dad is kind of beating that out of her, but then just like the whole Finney thing, it doesn't really come back ever again. Like the mom is literally never mentioned again. The dreams just kind of work when they need to. They're not really explained super well, and like it just I don't know. That was my issue with the whole like.
That's a whole other plot point. Like that didn't need to be in the movie. The whole psychic connection. Like it just felt like such a cliched Stephen King. Like it didn't. I don't feel like that needed to be in it at all. Like the psychic stuff. Like other than
Mm-hmm.
like they could have just had the like in all fairness, dude. I think the fucking how the girl found the missing kids in the peanut butter solution was better than how she found the missing kids in this movie. I felt they
Oh
explained.
yeah, she literally walked up to the house and she's like, "Oh, yep, there it
Yeah,
is."
like she has like I just felt like the psychic connection was only in the movie for that. Like I think
Mm-hmm.
in this kind of cuts. Actually, I'll just save it for the end. I'll save it for the end.
I don't know if I should say this at the end also, but see, it would have been better, I think, is if that whole dreams thing was just like dreams because her dad is abusing her. So you used like some escapism because you also see them like oftentimes just watching movies together when their dad is like passed out drunk, basically. So it's just kind of it makes sense, which is why it would have been cool if in the basement Finney started like hallucinating, dissociating a little bit because he's locked up by himself, and that kind of like brought in the dreams. But then you wouldn't know if they were like actual, like psychic abilities or if they were just, I don't know, him going insane trying to cope with stuff. I feel like that would have been so much cooler and so much, I don't know, it would have fit the tone a lot better than
Yeah,
this
for sure.
random dream thing, you know?
And I don't know where we're at in the movie, but basically, what I liked that they're bringing the pedo van back. They're trying to make it scary again. Because I remember seeing those
They're
white
bringing it back.
vans in high school and just remember thinking, well, that's a pedophile driving it. Like, that's a fucking rapist in that van. There's like, if it's,
Especially in fucking Huntsville.
dude, every time I see
Jeez.
those vans, I go, that's a rapist right there. Like, he's got somebody in the back. There's no other point for that to exist of that van. So,
Why else could you possibly do it? Especially if it's like fucking pitch black or pitch white.
so yeah, they're
And there's always like this logo on this side, like
Abra.
Billy's Donuts or
I
some
thought it was
shit
like
like that. It's like,
abracadabra or something because he's a magician.
yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I think in the book, in the short story, I think he's a clown. He's not a magician, so they changed it for the movie because of it. They didn't want him to be too like familiar. They didn't want it to be too
Mm.
familiar to it.
Which is funny because they still have like a lot of references to it. It's like the raincoat, the balloons, like some of the shots seem very similar to what the what 2016 it did with like Pennywise standing
2017.
in the rain with the
But
balloons and
yeah,
whatnot.
no,
Yeah.
there was some similarities. Yeah, I do like when the grabber kidnaps the main kid, Finney. He just fucking goes for it. Like there's no long drawn out to get him in the van. He's just like, hey, are those balloons? Yep, and then just does it, and it's like, oh, he doesn't fuck around. It's
Oh,
just
which is weird. It was really good. I liked it, but it was also weird because Finney is this like sensitive, empathetic kid. Like he doesn't even want to hear anybody mention the name of the grabber. He's so scared of it, and then approaches the first black fan he sees. He's like, "Oh, are those balloons? Let me get in there." Like, fuck you, Finney. What did you think was gonna happen?
well, no,
I don't know.
he becomes suspicious. I thought when he saw the balloons, like he's like, are those black balloons? And then like he kind of backed off, but
Oh,
then the
okay, yeah.
grabber kind of immediately noticed he was uncomfortable and was just like, you're coming with me. And
I
like
guess so. That's fair enough.
the one thing, dude, I love that he's always wearing a mask or something, like you don't really get to see his face fully. And I think fucking
Hmm.
Ethan Hawke saves the movie, in my opinion. Like, he's so good as the
Yes.
grabber. Like, he's so fucking creepy. Even under the mask, you just feel so much expression from him. Like, I think it's honestly one of his best performances in my opinion. Like, it's so good. It
Oh,
saves the movie, in my opinion.
it really does. He's really good at communicating with his eyes because early on in the movie he's got like a full mask and just the eyes,
Yeah.
and that's like for a good 20 minutes. So he does that really well, and that kind of, not really, but leads into a scene that I really like too. And this might be my bias, but when they started playing Pink Floyd's On the Run, right before or right after they told everybody that Finney was kidnapped, basically, and you see Gwen running like back home, basically, but it does like the Jaws thing, where it like zooms in, but then also
Oh
or
yeah, the
like it pulleys in, but then zooms out, so it
yeah,
just looks like she's running in place, which is really good with the song, and I don't know, I really like that part for more than just the song,
yeah.
but.
Then he's kidnapped and there's like the phone, right? And the basement isn't honestly that
Hmm.
scary. Like in the book, it's described as being stained with the blood of previous victims. And the
Oh,
basement's too open, in my opinion. There's too much space.
yeah, there's a lot of room. Yeah.
Like it might be like something where they think like the amount of space is like intimidating, but I feel like if it was closed, like more enclosed, it would have been or more tightly shot. Like it felt like he had so much more freedom with the wider shots in the cell. Like I'm not sure if you got that, but I just kind of felt like he had a
Hmm.
bathroom. Like I was like, bruh, why is this guy keeping him in a room with a window? Like I
Yeah.
would have put him in a box. Like if I was the grabber. Like come on, man.
Figure your shit out. He could have been renting that room out. Probably would have made some nice money off that. Like it was a pretty nice room. I kind of like I like it. I like those isolated, like where it's just within pretty contained shots and what, well, not shots, but like those locations.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. That's just I don't think I like the movie very much. So I think I'm gonna pick out more negatives. But it was fine.
Yeah. You know what?
I don't know. I get that he doesn't have like the confidence to pursue things. And that's kind of where the whole black phone comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So you can kind of make up like, oh, I guess we should explain that part first before I dive into
Yeah,
this.
go for it.
But
Explain away.
so explain away if I can. So Finney's in the basement, and first Ethan Hawke as the grabber comes down, and he's got like his full mask on. He's like, okay, so I promise you, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'll get you a soda or whatever. I just gotta go deal with some shit, basically. And then in that time, Finney kind of just does nothing. He kind of just sleeps a bit. He tries some things out, but doesn't really have the confidence. That's like a big thing in the movie to try things out, which is fine. And then the grabber comes back again, but this time he doesn't have the mouthpiece on, or he has the full mouthpiece on,
Something, yeah.
right?
I can't remember,
Yeah,
but he comes back down with yeah, he comes back down and
yeah. And then he basically tells, oh, Finney reaches for the phone. Sorry, Finney reaches for the phone, and then the grabber's like, oh, that thing hasn't worked in years. I only heard it once when I was first down here, which kind of sets up like a, okay, who is this guy? Which is nice, which I like.
yeah.
But then through the black phone, Finney keeps getting messages of previously abducted kids, and you're not quite sure if he's just hearing things or if it's actually supernatural. But then you start seeing like the bodies appear,
Yeah,
but only he can
only
see them.
only once though. You only see a dead kid.
Only
Only
once, yeah.
once. So kind of drop the ball
And
on
they're
that one.
like, yeah, and they look fine. Like it's just some pretty generic, like, oh, cuts on kids kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like they're not decomposing or anything like
Yeah.
that. But then this is okay. I don't know if I just misunderstood it, but they start giving him advice, right? Basically, but to like, so Bruce is like, okay, I started digging under the floor to kind of go under the foundation, and then Finney runs over there and he starts digging, but obviously it hasn't been dug before. So is that actually Bruce telling him what to do, or is that more him like kind of figuring out, getting the confidence to try things out,
That's a
or is that like actual
that's
like
a good
clairvoyance?
question. I thought it might be I honestly thought like he filled the grabber saw that he was digging a hole and then filled it in, like killed the kid and then filled it in. kind of deal. That's what I got from it.
Okay, fair enough.
No, you very well could be correct in that. I didn't even think of that. So that's pretty. That very well could be what happened. The confusing part to me was he
Yeah.
has these carpets in the basement, and he's like, "Oh, like tie a rope around the window with like bars on it, and then like throw like he tries to throw the rope around, and they're like use the carpet." And I was like, "Oh, he's gonna climb up the carpet because."
That's what I
And
thought.
then
Yeah.
he feeds the rope up through the carpet,
And it's like a
and I
shoelace.
don't think it works that way, especially going up. So I was very confused when he did that. But either way, he gets the rope up through the carpet, pulls tries to climb it, and then the grate pulls off,
Mm-hmm.
and then he kind of gives up. I'm
See, I
pretty
thought
sure.
for a second that for the rope that it was somehow like one of the kids was helping him pull through it, because there is like some freaky shit going on over there, because there's like some bottles pointing up in weird directions and whatnot.
Dude, I didn't get
But
it.
it doesn't really. I don't
Why did
think
he
so.
need? If
I
the
think
kid
it
was
was
gonna
just
help him put it over, why did he need the carpet?
yeah,
Like,
exactly. So I was also sussed out about that. It's like, wait a minute,
dude, it
that's not
was.
how physics works.
And then, anyways, so there's detectives looking for him. Honestly, I wasn't really in the side plot of people trying to locate him. I was
Mm-hmm.
more so in the plot. Like I liked the plot of him trying to escape. I thought that was clever. But the one part I remember, he's like, "Oh, I'll leave the door open," and then he goes to go up, but the phone rings, and then he answers the phone. They're like, "Don't go up. He's waiting for you." And then he's
Mm-hmm.
just like, the grabber's just sitting there with his shirt off, holding a belt, and I was like, "Oh, that's
Yeah,
nasty." I would say that's gross.
that is freaky. Yeah, isn't that like so? I think the plot of his little, I guess, game we can call it. So there's like stages in his game. So if you're supposed to disrespect his rules, that's why he'll feed you, and then leave the door open when he leaves, or at least he won't leave it unlocked. So you're supposed to follow him, and then he'll just beat the shit out of you. And that part of the game is called Naughty Boy.
Yeah, naughty. What an
So
awful title. Like,
yeah,
was he gonna spank you
right.
on
And
the?
then
I was. You could find a better title for that. I feel.
and then see, I just was surprised they were calling it a game, because there's only one stage. He's like, okay, you're a naughty boy, and then he kills you. Like it's not really a game. It's just you disrespect his wishes, I guess. And it's like, all right, GG's. Or maybe I missed the part. I'm not 100% sure. But with that is that the grabber, which also annoyed me, is that he left Finney with the rocket, which he had already stabbed the grabber with in the arm and like tore out a good chunk of flesh. And it's a flashlight. Like it's a very practical tool.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering, first of all, what the relevance of it was, because he's holding it like the entire movie. It's like a huge thing. And then why did he use that?
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know.
the
Do you remember
little
that?
fucking
The little like
spaceship,
play
the
rocket.
little space dog. I
Yeah.
think that was to just tell you that he was interested in space and like a
Oh,
science
okay.
kid.
Oh, fair enough. Like a creative but not
Yeah,
confrontational kind of guy.
yeah.
Oh,
Um.
fair enough. Okay.
Anyways, I think the little girl dreams of a. I don't know where we are, honestly. I can't remember where we last were. But anyways, a major plot point, I guess. The little girl dreams of. No, the police go to this guy Max's house, who's like super conspiracy theory, and he's like, "Oh, I know, I'm gonna help you guys. Like, I'm gonna help you guys." And he's like this weird character, and then they're like, "Hey, like blah blah blah, like just call us if you see the kid. Also, like we know you're doing cocaine." And then they're like, "Oh, okay," and then the guy's like, "Oh yeah," then it like pans down and it's like the basement is the kid, and at first I was like, is Max the killer? Like I was like, is that the killer? And then I was so confused by that cut. Like I wasn't sure if this is the house or like I wasn't sure if this is the house or anything. Like I think that would have been a great if they met with Ethan Hawke as opposed to Max, because the character Max just exists to get an axe in the head. Like what
Literally
I
his only
thought, dude.
purpose, and to be like some dumb comic relief, which is
Oh,
strange.
dude,
Yeah, sorry, go
he
ahead.
was the dumbest character. But what I thought when I saw Max and I realized like, oh, he's actually in the basement of like he's actually in Max's basement, like this is his brother, because there's a scene where he tries to escape using like the kid calls him, says like, "Oh, the padlock here like blah blah blah, and I can get out and stuff like that. And he uses like he escapes, and then the grabber basically runs after him, catches him, and throws him back in the basement. Like it's a pretty good. That's the best scene in the movie, in my opinion, when he escapes. I thought that was pretty interesting and really really well shot, and kind of honestly pretty scary. It was a pretty tense moment in my opinion. But
Yeah, the best scenes in a movie are definitely when it's Ethan Hawke and Finney, like the grabber. When it's just them two, I think.
so,
Those
so
are
dude,
solid
I
points.
thought I thought the movie was gonna end like the little girl guides them to the house. They go to the house and then they arrest Max, and then you're led to believe that Max was the killer. But then there would always be that lingering fear: did they actually get the killer? Like this guy was such a goofball. We saw him snorting cocaine and really obsessed with who did it. Did we actually get the right guy? Like I thought that would have been such a great, perfect, bittersweet ending to kind of leave you on like a sour note. Like it ends happy for the characters, but there's always that lingering fear of did they actually get the guy? But
Oh,
unfortunately,
that's
he
good.
got an axe to the head,
Unfortunately, not.
and I was like,
Like,
come on.
yeah, American Psycho style. Yeah, I was. I don't know. Actually, I like what you said a lot. I was thinking that it would have been cool since they're brothers, right? And like Ethan Hawke, the grabber, is like very, very afraid of showing his face to the point where if his mask is ripped off, he'll like scream in terror and cover his eyes.
Yeah,
What
that
would have been
was.
cool is if like he was like committing the murders and taking everybody in, and then Max was like the front of the whole thing, they kind of holding up a nice character kind of deal,
That could have been.
and taking
Yeah,
attention away while doing it. But I don't
yeah.
know. Either way,
He was a dumb comic
but
relief
yeah,
character, and I think he was
we didn't get that
only.
unfortunately.
I think he was only in the movie to get an axe to the head.
That's the R rating. I don't think there was even a scene with an R rating until that axe scene.
No, there was a lot of swearing, and I think a c word,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah. Oh,
a
there's
couple of
the F
f
slur
slurs.
too. Yeah.
So I think that's what got the R rating. But I don't know where we were, but I
Yeah.
don't really have too
I
much
was just
more.
when Ethan Hawke or when the grabber when Finney tried to escape and he got him back basically.
Yeah. So
And yeah, I like the whole Finney like his stuff. The whole Gwen, I think it's Gwen. Yeah, the whole her subplot is strange.
yeah,
Remember that really weird scene that was kind of like thrown in the middle, where she goes to her little dollhouse, pulls out a Bible and like a little figurine of Mary and like a little cross,
yeah,
and she's just
and
like,
praise
"What the
to
fuck,
Jesus.
Jesus?"
That was kind of
Yeah,
goofy. I was like, oh my
yeah.
god, dude.
One scene she was like, "Oh, thank you, Jesus, bring him home for me," and then the next scene she was like, "Oh, are you even real, Jesus?" And it's like super on her nose, and I never touch on it again. And I was like,
Yeah,
"Are her powers like Christian powers? Like, what's going on?" I
yeah.
don't know.
It was weird, dude. I mean, I don't have too many more notes. I mean, I guess I like the final scene happens. He basically uses the whole. Do you mind if I go to the final scene? I don't really have too much more.
No, please. Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Go
the
ahead.
final scene is he digs a hole. Max comes down. Max figures out that it's his brother doing the killing. He goes down to the basement. He sees the kid, and instead of helping the kid, he keeps trying to tell him like, "Oh, let me tell you how I found him." And then he gets an axe to the brain. The detectives are being led by the sister to the location. They go to into a house, but they don't know where they are. They can't really find the basement. And then Finn has been like instructed by the ghosts of how to fight back. He basically lures the grabber down a hole. The grabber breaks his ankle, and then he just beats him to death with the phone filled with sand in the hole,
And
and then he
chokes
strangles
him out with
him
the fucking phone wire.
with the wire, yeah, and like breaks his neck. And I thought this part was kind of goofy, where it's like, this phone call's for you, and then he picks it up, and they're like, "Fuck you," and then he breaks his neck. I was like, okay, we've reached a fucking goofy ass level here.
Yeah.
And then
Damn. That's also like a 14-year-old child who's never fought in his
yeah,
life.
and then basically, so then it's like, oh, happily ever after. He's found courage. Kids at school start to respect him because the rumor that he killed the man, the grabber, is around. And anyways, so final thoughts. What did you think?
I don't know. I'd recommend it. Pure. I'm not quite purely. I'm not that mean. I for Ethan Hawke's performance, definitely go check it out. It's a lot of
Yeah,
fun. The movie is fun. It's not. It's
I
by any means. It's not a bad movie. It's just
I
there's a lot of missed potential. I think.
I think, dude. I think the first half is boring. The middle half is a solid movie. There's a movie there that will keep you entertained. And the latter ending is disappointing. I
Yeah,
do recommend
I
people
think that
watch it.
pretty well
Don't
sums it up.
don't not watch it. But I feel like, honestly, if you want, like, I feel like this is a source material. A dude kidnapping and murdering children is a very serious subject matter, and they kind of took it really lightheartedly, I felt.
Hmm.
And
But like in a, and not in like a satirical way, like in a
like in like a
kind of
in
just
like a
missed the mark
yeah,
on
in
it.
like a goofy comedy way. Like, no, I feel like, yeah, we've talked about it pretty negatively. I think if you want to watch a decent kidnapping movie, watch Peanut Butter Solution. I honestly feel the Peanut Butter Solution was better than this movie. That is a way scarier movie, and it takes itself a little more seriously than this movie. So watch that movie, which we will cover in the
Mm,
future. I would like to I
we
would like
will.
to say we will cover that movie eventually. But
Oh, you know what's cool too? Like they had. Sorry, I completely forgot about this. They have Tom Savini on special effects, which is dope because he
I
did
think
like
all he did was the
the
mask.
40
I think
masks,
he just
right?
did the mask.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's still pretty cool that he
that's
was
pretty nice.
credited and
Yeah.
stuff. That's pretty.
And then as like a final funny thing that I just read on the Amazon trivia thing, added again. So Jason Blum, like the CEO of Blumhouse
Yeah.
Pictures or whatever it's called, he somehow got access to Scott Derrickson's basement and planted like a single black phone there, which is pretty fucking funny. And then it rang, and he made it loop directly to his own cell phone, so he would pick up once it rang and he picked up and shit.
Oh, that's wild.
Pretty funny actually. Yeah, right.
That's wild.
And it's still there.
Yeah, so I was a little disappointed by this movie, but by all means, guys, don't take our opinions on it. Go watch the movie for yourself. Form your
Hmm.
own opinion. Same thing with all the movies we cover here. Next week, what are we doing next week? I believe we promised the Munsters. Rob
Monsters.
Zombie's The
Yeah, Rob
Munsters.
Zombie.
I have watched this already. I will watch it again. Um,
Nice.
it's something.
Oh no.
That's all. I'll just,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe I
Okay.
liked it.
Okay.
Maybe I enjoyed it, but
Yeah.
it's something. That's all I'll say. Other than that,
Okay.
guys,
All right.
that's going to conclude this episode of Echo Video Podcast. And thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next week.